Okay, second part of the Declaration of Independence lesson is we need to actually have a document that has some key points. We need some key points that we can remember. We need to memorize these. For that way, when you're writing an essay, you're recalling these facts. When you're doing an argumentative essay on the AP test, you're going to have no documents and you're going to have to be able to just recall some key points that you can use in an argument. And we'll be working on that in this class. So anyway, you should have a document that looks like this in front of you. I think I have all of them in green, so that way we can keep track of our foundational documents. This is document number one. Author is Thomas Jefferson, obviously. And then what we're going to do is I have the bullet points laid out. I'm going to go ahead and give you the bullet points. You're on a PowerPoint. You're going to go ahead and write them down on the sheet. And then I would turn it over. I would study it for a minute or two. Then I would turn it over and I would try to recite it back as best you can. And I would get to the point where you can do it really fast. And we'll be working on that in class as well. You've got to know these really well if you're going to write a really good argumentative essay on the AP test. Okay, so here we go. This is going to be really quick and will not take very long. All right, so the first point here, declaration, required document number one, is first off, by the way, the way I have this organized is like an organization that makes sense, how it builds on itself. But first, Jefferson says there are self-evident truths. All men are created equal. Self-evident means it's obvious if you use reason that we're all equal. Like when we're born, none of us are better than the other. So self-evident truth. Again, as I mentioned earlier, this is really important because this will be the inspiration for the abolition or anti-slavery movement, because people will realize, like, wait a second, if this is true, then how can we have slavery? And that's right. How can you have slavery? And very quickly, the northern states began to abolish slavery and had things like the Northwest Ordinance, which abolished slavery in areas in the Midwest. Okay, so here we go. Second part. As part of that, since there are self-evident truths, we have also, along with that, unalienable rights: life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Remember, originally that was property. In fact, in the original copy of the Declaration written by Jefferson, he wrote property. And Benjamin Franklin actually said that it should be pursuit of happiness, so that way it sounded more poetic. So that's why that got changed from Lockean property. So unalienable rights, rights that can't be taken away, life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. That should be all very, very familiar to you. And government is formed to secure these rights. So again, notice the logic. There are these self-evident truths. We have these unalienable rights, and then government is formed to secure these rights. Again, government formed to secure these rights. And this government that's formed, right, it gets its powers, its just powers, its powers that it rightly has, from the consent of the governed. So the people are giving powers to a government to secure natural rights, unalienable rights, because these rights are based on self-evident truths that we're all equal, so therefore we have rights. And then it follows from that. If government violates these rights, which are unalienable and we get at birth because they're natural rights, the right of the people to alter or abolish it and institute a new one. So, I mean, this follows right. If government violates the rights, we can get a new government. Why? Because government gets its power from us. And why? Government gets its power from us to secure our rights. Why? Because these rights are unalienable. We're born with them. They're natural rights because it's self-evident when we're born, we all are equal. All of this falls, again, logic. And lastly, sorry that this is covered up a little bit, but you should be able to get it. When a long train of abuses happens, when a government violates our rights over and over and over and over again, it is the right to overthrow that government and provide new guards for their future security. And I underline new guards. That may be hard to see, but I underline new guards because new guards means like a new government, a new constitution, some separation in powers in order to secure our future security. If security in what? Our rights. Security in what? Our liberty. Security in what? Our lives. All right. So if we don't think the government's protecting our life, our liberty, and our property, then we would be able to get rid of it if there was a long train of abuses, not just like one time, but like a long train of abuses. All right. Awesome. That's that. Again, study it. Turn it over, kind of see if you can come up with the things in your head. That's how you study these things. Better yet, if you got a whiteboard, and I recommend a whiteboard for this class, write them out, see how many you get, erase them, do it again, write them out, erase it, do it again till you can get all 6. Doesn't have to be word for word, but it should be, you should be able to get a lot of them. All right, awesome. Thanks, guys.